I will hit start now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the OHSAA financial update to members on winter results. I'm Laura Vermilya, the controller. Also on today is Dr. Kiehl, our Chief Operating Officer, and Doug Ute, Executive Director, and Ron Sayers will be moderating. Going to the first slide. This is the review of winter sports in total. The sports are down the left-hand side and across the top in the columns. The first column is attendance. Then we have ticket revenue, other revenue, which is usually program sales and radio. And then total expenses. These are direct costs to run the tournament, and then the profit or loss of the tournaments themselves. This is all levels of the tournament. So whether it be sectional, district, regional, and state, all levels are combined into these dollar amounts. Overall, just some highlights. Attendance in total was up 5% over last year's winter sports. We also had some major milestones. The state wrestling attendance, which this year also included girls wrestling, was the highest attendance since 2005. So we're really proud about that. And then highest attendance in ice hockey since 2013. We also saw increased attendance in boys and particularly girls basketball at the district and regional levels. When I say district, that's sectional, district, and regional levels. So jumping into the numbers, boys basketball attendance, 457,586. And again, that's all levels. Ticket revenue, 3.76 million. Other revenues, primarily radio, 85,000. Total expenses, 2,054 for a net profit from basketball of 1 million, just short of 1,000,008. Girls basketball, 214,867 at all levels, 1.7 in revenue, 51,657 in other revenue, and total expenses 1,426, with a profit of 366. Ice hockey, 22,954. Ticket revenue, 251,000. Other revenue, 2,000. Total expenses, 156 for a profit of 96,000. Bowling, 16,558. Ticket revenue, 131. Other revenue, just over 1,000. And total expenses, 231. That also includes all lineage fees that were paid out for the sport at all levels. So a loss there of 99,000. Gymnastics, 4,224, 37,000 in revenue, minor other revenue, and total expenses 100,000. So a loss of 62,000. Just the equipment to run that sport is very expensive. Swimming and diving, 33,436. Ticket revenue, 293,000. Other revenue, 7,000. Total expenses, 368 for a loss of 67,784. Wrestling attendance, 109,369. Ticket revenue, 769,531. The reason that is highlighted is we do have total attendance numbers for state wrestling, but we do not have any, we do not have all the revenues and expenses back from OSU. So we have not received numbers yet from Ohio State on that. So these are estimates. So I've estimated the ticket revenue for the state wrestling tournament. Total expenses for wrestling also estimated 632,553 for a profit of 138,000. So all in winter sports, 858,994 total attendance. Just shy of 7 million in ticket revenues, 6,992. Other revenue just shy of 150. Expenses just under 5 million for a total profit from winter sports of $2,170,000, led primarily by boys basketball. The next slide is the same results, but laid out by district. So the districts are down the left-hand side of the slide, and regional and state is included on its own line there. And then the sports are across the top. So you can see by district at the sectional and district levels how those tournaments for each of those sports performed. The sport total at the bottom ties back to the previous slide. So in total, so boys basketball, for example, the first column there was profitable in each and every district, and also at the regional and state level, tying back to the 1,000,008 or 1,798,000. Girls basketball profitable in most districts. A lot of that will be attendance driven, as well as the amount paid to host those events. Wrestling is typically also expensive sport to run, and so the districts have lost money there. Again, this is an estimate of what will occur after we receive the state results from OSU. Bowling, gymnastics, swimming and diving, also, expensive sports, so therefore those lose money as well. And then ice hockey is administered out of the Columbus office, so that was $96,615 there. So again, a total $2,170,000. Going to the next slide, these are the year-to-date results as of March 31st, so through winter sports. Winter sports still being that estimate since we do not have final results in. Fall sports, the first line here, $3,495,000 versus a budget of $3,003,000, so favorable to budget about 3%. Winter sports, $2,170,000 in profit versus a budget of $2,005,000. So that is down from budget, even though attendance was favorable. That was driven by the fact that we did offer student tickets at a reduced rate. That was something that we implemented at the beginning of the year and carried through. That had not been factored into the budget at that time. So that is why there was a miss to budget there. But all in through the first two seasons, net tournament revenue 5.665 versus a budget of 5,918. We have other operating revenues, corporate sponsorships, officials, permit fees, things like that are in 2,694,000 versus a budget of 2,004,000. So that is ahead of budget. And then other operating expenses, 4,352,000 versus a budget of 4,681,000. So favorable to budget. We're 7% favorable ahead of budget on other operating expenses. So through the first two seasons, total net operating profit just over $4 million versus a budget of $3,007,000. So ahead 320,000. Cash on hand. Operating cash is at 6.6 months on hand, 11.6 million. Investments have grown to 8.7, so 5 months on hand for total operating cash of 20.3, or just under 12 months on hand, exceeding our overall goal. Moving into our objectives, you've probably seen, if you've joined us before, you've seen this slide before. Goal 1 is to operate at a profit. Our budget for the entire year is 3.1 million, and we are on track to meet that. Our second objective is to build reserves. As I just showed, our goal is 9 months on hand. We have 6.6 months in operating and 5.0 months in reserves. So we are exceeding that, and we continue to grow that reserve amount. And then support opportunities for students to participate. We introduced girls wrestling, boys volleyball, and esports this year. In addition, you may have read in the administrator updates and in some of the regional road shows that have been happening in April that we have also introduced a new athletic enrichment fund. And we're going to talk a little more about that. So the new athletic enrichment fund is establish a fund for the purpose of providing a financial contribution to each member school's athletic department. And those funds, a distribution of those funds can be spent on equipment, uniforms, game transportation, officials, improving student sportsmanship, and adult fan behavior. So this fund will be set up with an initial transfer of $3 million from operations. And then on an annual basis, the board of directors will approve a transfer from that fund to be distributed to each member school. To qualify, the member school must have returned their membership card by June 30th. That has always been the deadline, and then have no outstanding member dues or fines. And the member dues there, that means for the year that's just ending. So for this year, that's 2022-23. And so the board has already voted for this year that each high school will receive $1,250. That distribution is expected in late July or early August, but again, that applies for this year. And as long as you've returned your membership card and have paid your dues and any fines, that will be coming to you. We will be also putting out a Google Doc questionnaire to all ADs, just asking. It'll be a multiple choice of which category you anticipate spending the money on, whether it be the equipment, uniforms, game transportation, officials, improving student sportsmanship, and adult fan behavior, just so we can ensure the money is being spent as intended and have that as documentation. That is the end of my presentation, and happy to entertain any questions, or if Doug or Kim would like to say anything, they can also do that at this time.
Thanks, Laura. Currently, we don't have any questions in the Q&A function, so I would encourage folks to go ahead and get those in if they do have them. Otherwise, they will see that I did put together a little announcement at the beginning that has the contact information for all three of Doug, Dr. Kiehl, and Laura. So if they have any follow-up questions, they should be emailing you all shortly hereafter. But we'll give it a hot second just because we are on a 10 to 20 second delay from the live portion of this on our end. So did Doug and Kim, did you guys have anything else you wanted to present today?
I don't. I just thank Laura and Kim for putting this together, and thank the folks for joining who are on there. And always remember, this is recorded and you can watch this at any time. So if any of the folks out there talk to their peers and they say, hey, I missed that, it is recorded and put out online, correct, Ronald?
You are absolutely correct. I will get this uploaded sometime in the beginning of next week once it's rendered completely. Alrighty, well, given that we don't have any questions currently, again, I will encourage the attendees to send any of those questions via email to either Laura, Doug, or Kim, and we will happily follow up with you as soon as we can. But we appreciate you taking the time to jump on, and we will go ahead and end from here. And this, again, will be uploaded in the next several days. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.